There she was, Linda, in her cheetah print robe and fuzzy boots, standing on my porch, yelling that her Tesla was now possessed by a demon because the dashboard was flashing like a slot machine. I just stood there, coffee in hand, debating whether to spill the truth. She'd been leeching off my electricity for weeks, and I'd finally tossed in a little surprise for her to deal with. No, this isn't a blockbuster film. This is what happens when a self-entitled, fake HOA queen picks a fight in the wrong cul-de-sac. Freeze frame. Yep, that's meth guy whose private well Linda, the HOA tyrant, tapped into the water her prized petunias. What did I do? I sent a dose of sewage through her system. And buddy, that was just the warm-up. Before you peg me as some unhinged suburban mastermind, let me set the record straight. I moved to this neighborhood for tranquility, a 1-acre lot, sleek modern house, HOA rules that seemed fair enough on paper. I'm a software engineer, quiet, low drama, not the type to spark backyard feuds. But I learned fast that one power-hungry Linda, armed with a laminated HOA badge and an inflated title, can turn a peaceful life into a reality TV nightmare. Linda, real name Cynthia, but she insisted on being called executive director of the Community Enhancement Board, zeroed in on me the second I pulled into my driveway. Not in a neighborly way, either. On day one, she taped a typed letter to my door, griping that my moving boxes were an eyesore and warning that any visible tools, cables, or tech gear would trigger a fine. Mind you, I've been there less than 8 hours, still unpacking my SUV. At first, I shrug it off. Some folks crave control like it's oxygen. But Linda wasn't just irritating, she was calculated, delivering passive-aggressive jabs with sniper precision. One day, she flagged my mailbox for being non-regulation height, despite it matching half the streets. Another time, she dinged me for visible trash cans when they were still rolling back from pickup. The real kicker, though, wasn't any of that. It was when my electric bill spiked by $200 in a single month. I thought I'd left a server running or something. Ran a full diagnostic, everything checked out. Then my security camera footage caught something odd. The cover on my outdoor outlet was slightly open. I blamed a squirrel or a gust of wind at first. Then I saw it. At 12:03 a.m., a shiny black Tesla eased into my driveway, a charging cable snaking from my outlet to the car like it was a free gas pump. Out stepped Linda, in stealth mode, robe flapping, phone flashlight bobbing as she strutted back to her house with the confidence of a repeat offender. I rewatched the clip 4 times to be sure. There was that smug little hair flip as she sauntered off. She wasn't even sneaky. The next night, same deal. Then the night after, sometimes in broad daylight. One afternoon, she parked across my driveway, cable stretched like a neon sign, screaming entitlement. No heads up, no apology, just pure audacity. So, like any sensible person with a knack for tech and a taste for petty justice, I started tracking it. I hooked up a Wi-Fi-enabled power monitor. Over 2 weeks, her Tesla slurped 68 kilowatt-hours from my outlet, about $171 worth of juice. When I confronted her politely, I swear she blinked like I'd asked for her firstborn. "Oh, I thought it was a community outlet," she said. "It's in your front yard, isn't it?" When I explained it was wired to my house, locked behind a sealed cover, she snapped, "You don't even own an EV. So what's it for?" I stared, grappling with the logic. I told her to stop. I zip-tied the cover. 2 days later, the tie was cut. I installed the lock. Next day, the outlet box had a fresh scratch, and the lock looked pried. She was escalating, and then she had the nerve to file an HOA complaint against me for obstructing shared utilities. Picture my face when I got a letter fining me $250 for blocking community resources. I laughed, then I didn't. I spent a weekend dissecting the HOA bylaws like they were ancient hieroglyphs. Buried in the fine print was a vague rule about visible exterior elements being subject to HOA interpretation loose enough for Linda to twist into a weapon. My outlet, installed before I moved in, was suddenly public property. That's when I knew I wasn't just dealing with a nosy neighbor. I was up against a suburban warlord with a thirst for free power and zero respect for boundaries. That's when the real plan hatched. Unplugging her would have been too simple, too fleeting. I wanted her to feel the consequences of mooching off someone's life without asking. I got to work. I repurposed an old sprinkler control box, one of those fake utility covers people use to hide pipes. Inside, I rigged a custom low-voltage pulse circa nothing dangerous, just enough to trip her Tesla's sensors and deliver a 5-minute symphony of flickering lights, warning beeps, and a dashboard display that'd make a DJ jealous. It wasn't meant to damage anything, just to spook and teach. I hit it perfectly, synced it to my motion camera, and waited. When it hit, it was glorious. She backed in as usual, plugged in, strolled off. 5 minutes later, the show kicked off. Headlights flashed. The dashboard glowed red. The touchscreen glitched like a dying CRT monitor. The car speakers wailed a baffled ding-ding-ding. Linda sprinted out, yanking the cable like it was cursed. That's when she stormed to my porch, screeching about Satan hijacking her Tesla, accusing me of witchcraft-level sabotage. I just sipped my coffee and nodded. But that wasn't all I'd wired. While she was freaking out over her car's meltdown, the irrigation system she'd tapped into my private well was about to fire up, pumping sewage straight into her fancy garden beds. Oh, you thought the story peaked at a Tesla tantrum? Nope, we're just getting started. I learned something the hard way. When you catch a Linda red-handed and she doubles down, it's not Kurgite's delusion. She genuinely thought the whole neighborhood would rally behind her. And when the HOA was basically her personal fan club, you couldn't just fight back with facts. You needed strategy, proof, and a blow to her untouchable image. Post-Tesla fiasco, Linda didn't back off. No apology, no offer to pay, not even a hint of shame. Instead, she went full conspiracy theorist, claiming her car was sabotaged by neighborhood rebels. The next day, she paraded around with a clipboard, warning everyone about a tech terrorist targeting EVs. Apparently, I'd gone from homeowner to cybervillain overnight. She filed another HOA complaint, accusing me of endangering her property, blocking her right to green energy, and me favorite, disrupting the neighborhood's positive energy flow. I'm not sure she knew what that meant either. The HOA, predictably, sent me another stern letter, threatening legal action if I messed with community infrastructure again. No mention of her plugging into my house. No apology for the fine they'd already slapped on me. Just another reminder that Linda was always right. So I did what engineers do. I got data. I upgraded to a smarter power monitorial time tracking, instant alerts, precise draw estimates. I added a motion-triggered camera feeding to my phone and cloud. I built an app to ping me whenever the outlet was touched. And sure enough, despite her car's exorcism, Linda came back. Not right away, she waited a few days, probably thinking I let my guard down. But on night 5, just past midnight, her Tesla crept into my driveway. She stepped out, glanced around, and plugged in. I watched live on my phone, sipping cocoa, chuckling. The outlet wasn't rigged this time, not with shocks, anyway. The trap was evidence. Over the next 10 days, she charged 9 more times. Always late, always angled to dodge the camera, she failed. I had her on 3 angles, crystal clear. One even caught her mid-hair flip. At the next HOA meeting, when Linda stood up, voice dripping with outrage, calling me a public menace, I stayed quiet. Let her rant about her Tesla's spiritual corruption and wave printouts of diagnostic errors. I waited until she burned out. Then I asked to speak. I clicked on the projector. Slide 1, Linda's Tesla in my driveway, time-stamped. Slide 2, a power usage graph pinpointing her plug-in, labeled Tesla charge spike. Slide 3, 9 more clips, back-to-back. Her face was unmistakable. I threw in some dramatic background, music, why not go all in? The room went dead silent. Linda's smile froze. The HOA chair's jaw twitched. The secretary choked on her tea. I wasn't done. I handed out printouts, tallying her power theft, 76 kilowatt hours, enough to run a small fridge for months. Total cost, $190.50, itemized. I included a note from my insurance, saying unauthorized utility use could void my policy. Linda tried to cut in, but I raised a finger and dropped the mic. I filed a provisional patent for my Tesla theft deterrent device. It was legally registered, vetted online as a safe, non-damaging tool for property protection. She called it a weapon. I countered that it was less harmful than static from a sweater, and she'd used my outlet a dozen times before it ever tripped. Her car? Fine, per Tesla's own report, just a bit spooked. Silence stretched for 10 seconds. Then a board member, a quiet guy named Frank who mostly showed up for the bagels, muttered, "Damn, that's clever." Linda imploded. She called me a lunatic, accused me of spying, demanded I be evicted. Someone from the back piped up, "You've been jacking his power at night, maybe don't talk about spying." The room snickered. Even the HOA chair fought a grin. In the end, they voted. Linda was stripped of her executive director title. The board apologized for my fines and wiped them clean. They agreed to amend the HOA rules to clarify that private outlets aren't communal property. Best of all, Linda was ordered to repay me for the stolen power 30 days, or they'd double the fine and lien her house. Her face when they said lien was like watching a balloon deflate. You'd think that'd be the end title gone, humiliated, fined. But Linda wasn't built for surrender. A week later, an anonymous note hit my mailbox, accusing me of rogue tech and destabilizing neighborhood vibes. I nearly laughed myself sick. Then my cameras caught her creeping around my yard at 2 a.m. in a car, just her, dragging a garden hose. Something told me she wasn't there to prune my shrubs. There's a distinct sound a hose makes scraping across pavement in the dead of night, not loud, just wrong. I was dozing on the couch, some late-night infomercial droning, when my motion alert pinged. I checked the feed, expecting a raccoon. Nope, Linda, in slippers and a jacket, hauling a hose like she was pulling off a heist. I blinked, confused. Was she trying to flood my yard? Sabotage my outlet? Drown my roses in revenge? She crouched by my irrigation box, the one I'd used to send sewage her way before Ann started poking at it. That's when it hit me. She was trying to flip the script, except she had no clue what she was doing, and she was about to regret it. After the Tesla stunt and HOA showdown, I'd leveled up my setup. New locks, a hidden camera inside the irrigation box, sensors buried in the dirt. I'd braced for retaliation. You don't topple a backyard dictator without blowback. But even I didn't expect her to be this bold, this fast, and this comically bad at it. I watched her fumble with the hose, try to jam it into my system, fail, then twist a fake valve cap I'd installed for show. The real guts were locked in a sealed case under a hidden panel. But Linda, in her midnight genius, thought she was cracking my water line. She smacked the box with her flashlight in frustration. That's when I flipped on the sprinklers. You've never seen a woman leap like that. The system blasted her square in the face from a pop-up head she didn't spot. She yelped, slipped on wet dirt, and landed flat, hose tangling around her like a bad prop. She scrambled up, soaked, hair wild, and bolted home without a backward glance. I didn't even get off the couch. It was perfection. The next morning, the HOA summoned me to an emergency conduct review. Translation: Linda was at it again. I strolled into the meeting in a t-shirt and jeans, ready for the circus. Linda was there, dressed like she was pleading a case on Teve's scarf, huge sunglasses, clutching a tissue. She claimed she'd been assaulted by hostile sprinklers during a routine community check. She accused me of rigging a landscaping weapon. It was like hearing someone blame the rain for getting wet. The board wasn't buying it this time. My footage showed her trespassing, tampering with my irrigation at 2 a.m. No clipboard or flashlight could spin that as community service. She looked like she was breaking in. Linda didn't quit, though. She waved screenshots from a neighborhood chat, claiming I was running a smear campaign and that her Tesla now had digital trauma for my stunt. Yes, that was her phrase. Then she pulled out a stack of papers, Tesla logs, shady articles on electropulses, and a petition called Evict the Tech Menace from Maple Grove. It had 5 signatures, hers, her yoga instructors, and 3 from people who thought they were signing for a bake sale. I barely had to speak. I played the sprinkler clip. Silence. Then a giggle from the back. It snowballed into muffled laughs across the room. Even Frank, the bagel guy, said, "That's justice with a high-pressure hose." Linda lost it, screamed about conspiracies and bias, then stormed out. The HOA censured her this time, warning that more stunts would mean legal trouble. Done and dusted, right? Wrong. Linda didn't do defeat. She stopped coming for me directly and went underground gossip, fake posts on the neighborhood app, flyers hinting at someone using tech trickery to brainwash the block. She even called the city, claiming my house had unpermitted wiring. Jokes on Hermie permits were bulletproof. Still, it was exhausting, like swatting a mosquito that wouldn't quit. Then one night, a new twist. A knock at my door, not Linda, not the HOA, but a guy in a suit from Tesla's customer service team. Linda had filed a complaint, saying my outlet had corrupted her car's soul, causing glitches and playing unauthorized music. She wanted a new Tesla, maybe damages. I poured him coffee, showed him the saga, videos, power logs, my harmless pulse circuit. He shook his head, said, "We've seen a lot, but this is next level." He left, saying Tesla wouldn't pursue it. 3 days later, Tesla flagged her account for inconsistent claims. She was now on their high-maintenance list, extra scrutiny for any future complaints. She didn't know yet, but she'd find out. The next weekend was the neighborhood block party. Everyone showed up, kids, families, the HOA playing nice. Linda rolled in, Tesla parked like a trophy. Someone asked why her dashboard flickered when she used her phone. She froze, mumbled about stray signals. Another neighbor teased, "Still haunted?" Then someone flashed their phone. "Hey, isn't this the guy who caught her stealing power?" All eyes turned to me, leaning on my fence, sipping lemonade, grinning like I'd written the script. Linda realized the tide had turned, not just the HOA, not just the evidence. The whole street was waking up, and she was running out of shadows to hide in. People like Linda bank on no one fighting back. They lie, cheat, and bulldoze, assuming everyone's too busy or polite to call their bluff. But once the mask slips, the whole act crumbles fast. After the party, neighbors stopped waving at her. The HOA nudged her out of every committee. Her Tesla, once her pride, became a running joke, still glitching, still pinging random errors. She tried another service center, but her flagged account followed her. Every visit got the same, "We'll check it out," brush off. Then the flyers started sloppy, handwritten notes taped to mailboxes, raving about tech sabotage and neighborhood plots. One claimed I'd built a signal disruptor in my shed. I don't even own a shed, just a router. She put her house on the market soon after. First, a quiet post asking for realtor recommendations. Then a "for sale by owner" sign popped up for a weekend before vanishing. I thought she'd finally cracked, realizing the block was done with her. What I didn't see coming was why her house wouldn't sell. Not my doing, not directly. I didn't say a word to buyers. But somehow, clips of Linda charging her Tesla at my house hit the internet. A full montage edited, captioned, set to music. Titled "Linda's Free Juice: How One Woman Stole Power and Blamed Ghosts." No clue who posted it. Could have been anyone. It went viral in local group chats, hit Reddit, even landed on a revenge-themed YouTube channel with 600,000 views. By the time her house listed officially, the comments section was a war zone. One guy asked if the outlet came with the deed. Another wondered if the Tesla was pre-cursed. The listing site had a lot of comments. Linda tried spinning its age she was moving for a new venture, that the neighborhood was hostile. No one bought it. Her open houses tanked. A few folks showed up just to gawk at the infamous driveway. One recognized my porch from the video's opening shot. Linda quit hosting after that. Meanwhile, my side of the street was golden. My smart home project was done, solar panels humming, fully operational. I set up a locked outlet system tied to my grid. Neighbors could charge phones or EVs if they asked and got the code. I called it Power for the People. They loved it. Even the HOA called it a community win and asked me to pitch a neighborhood-wide plan. Linda wasn't invited to that meeting. You'd think that's the finale. Linda slinks off. Lesson learned. But Linda didn't do lessons. One last curveball was coming. The neighborhood had a big holiday light contest, major deal, with synchronized displays and inflatable snowmen. Linda had won it 3 years running, mostly by strong-arming the judges. This year, I tossed my hat in for kicks. Went minimalist. White LEDs, clean lines, all solar-powered. Then, in my yard, I added a final tucha small sign, softly lit, reading, "This house runs on sun, not neighbors." It was a hit. Kids snapped selfies with it. Neighbors shared it online. Someone printed it on hoodies. I didn't win, but Linda didn't either. She placed fifth behind me, behind a guy with a dancing reindeer, behind a kid who duct taped his house in Christmas wrap and called it Budget Glow. That broke her. A week later, a moving truck rolled up to her place. No notice, no farewells. She was gone by dawn. Her Tesla hauled off on a trailer. She didn't even drive it. I stood on my porch, coffee in hand, watching with quiet satisfaction. Not because she left, but because she'd run out of lies to sell. Her house sold a month later to a young couple from organized folks. The wife's first question, "So, that outlet story real?" I laughed, told him the tale. She grinned and said, "Can we get the code for your charger?" I handed her a slip with the password. Now the neighborhood feels different. People wave, ask for tech tips. One guy called me the HOA tamer. Not sure if that's praise, but I'll roll with it. What started as a spat over stolen power became something bigger, a reset for the block, a reminder that standing up to a bully matters, even in suburbia. As for Linda, word is she's suing Tesla for emotional distress. Something about her new car switching stations randomly. I hope it stuck on Sweet Child O' Mine. On loop, call it poetic justice. Me? I vow my quiet life back. Just solar hums, the occasional sensor ping, and the comfort of knowing my outlet's ready to throw a party if anyone tries to plug in uninvited.